Hi everybody, this is the headbanded Pearls of Wisdom and Food Sarah from the Jar of Pickles. Welcome to my little channel. Here we are, and today it's going to be ways to change unhealthy eating habits. So it's the emotional part that we have to put into things before we put it in our mouth, or so we don't put it in our mouth. But first, an unintended consequence of, I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's been about a month now since being on low-carb, high-fat, keto food plan. Nails. I have a full set of fingernails. Now in the winter, usually I just have these horrible cuticles that are split open and painful and all of that kind of stuff. But I don't know, maybe it's the summer. But I don't know if it's because I've been having all this coconut oil and other healthy oils for the last year in copious amounts. I'll take it. Okay, so today we've got ways to change unhealthy eating habits. Reversing these bad habits is possible if you keep a positive attitude. And stay committed, which means that your tracker is your best friend and you've got it velcroed to your brain and fingertips so you can always be adding to it. And you focus on small, doable changes. And that's what I liked about this article when I read it. Small, doable changes. And they suggested something about the nighttime eating. I'm not going to get to it at first. But it was like, well, that's a duh. But I never thought of it. I don't think I ever read it anyplace else. So try this one on and you'll see if you like it and if it makes sense. But first, the ABC approach. Oh, I liked this. Okay, heading off these problems is what we want to do. A stands for antecedent, B stands for behavior, and C stands for consequence. And we know the consequence of putting something into our mouth that wasn't on our tracker, that isn't in our food plan, that wasn't planned, that isn't a treat, and just goes pop, oops. Okay. Most behaviors have an antecedent, which means cause. And causes lead to consequences. I like this. We could just stay here with the ABC approach, right? By addressing the antecedents first, you can prevent unwanted consequences. For example, you might decide not to buy ice cream because keeping it in the freezer leads to the behavior eating most or all of it in one sitting, which has the consequence of disrupting your weight program. Oh, how I learned that. I talked about shopping for Friendly's ice cream when they were maybe 2 for $4 back then. Now on sale they're like 2 for $5. I don't know. Stop and Shop had a coupon for $1.99 recently, and I was totally addicted to Friendly's ice cream. So there I was. I'd buy 2 for $5 because, of course, you can buy 1 for $2.50, but no, I'd buy the 2 for $5. And in my head, I was so soundly convinced that I would be able to handle it that I could actually portion out, 4 ounces of that? But then I started to add all the other things, the frozen M&Ms, the frozen Milky Ways, the tablespoon of hot caramel sauce. Oh yeah, I had to, plump it up. I wasn't just happy with the ice cream. And then it got a little sloppy, maybe stopped measuring, maybe just basing it on the size of the little itty bitty bowl, and then suddenly it was like a mountain above the bowl, which probably was making it like twice as much as the 4 ounces. I was awful with ice cream. It truly was in my giving up, the antecedent, the cause was buying it, right? And the B stands for my behavior. It's like insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and thinking it will turn out different. Yeah, well, of course. And then what happened was the consequence, of course. Those 2 containers, those 2 half gallons of Friendly's ice cream were suddenly gone and in the trash because I have no control over things like that in my freezer. So then I had to get the idea that I can't buy it anymore, I can't have it in the house. And that was that. Was it easy? No, but not buying it was the kickoff. I had to learn not to buy the Friendly's ice cream. And when I've cleaned out my freezer, even now I'm finding bags of frozen candy that I used to put on it. Yeah, I haven't done a thorough job of cleaning it out. And all of that had to go too. You know, now I've got my dark chocolate or my bulletproof chocolate and my white morsels that I put into my fat bomb, but that's it. I'm not into the other stuff the way that I was. And it is definitely structured, contained, and tracked, and only had on certain times of the week. So, okay, the distraction approach. This is the second. This is a way to change unhealthy eating habits by focusing your attention on something else when food cravings start. Now, food cravings to me is just my addict, Ms. Slick, just telling me it's hungry. It's not, but it knows, or she knows, that she can win me over because it has happened so many times. And I'm telling you, that mental hunger thing that I've talked about from 12 to 5, that is when Ms. Slick is wide awake and picking at me, tap, tap, tapping. Go have something. You know it's okay. A tablespoon of peanut butter, carry you over. It's okay. And of course, you know, if I did have that, it would open up the floodgates of all the rest of the stuff. It has nothing to do with hunger. It has to do with this mental craving for something that doesn't exist, because at lunch I had plenty of healthy fat and protein to carry me the 5 hours. I just need to distract myself. Okay, so, and this says, remind yourself that it will last for 20 minutes at most. And I often tell the story of that little beautiful young cheerleader woman that set her stove clock for 10 minutes and got busy with distractions. This is saying 20 minutes, which is even better. And I say, have a lemon water. Have a water with a squeeze of fresh lemon in it, and then work on distracting. Get out of the kitchen, for starters, right? Maybe even get out of the house. You know, I don't know, walk a piece of mail to a mailbox someplace. You know, just the distraction. It's so important. Call a friend, read a book, revisit your goals, revisit your tracker, and say, you know, am I going to have it? No. Did I put it in at 4 in the morning when I was putting in my food for the day? No, I didn't. So, everything that I put into my tracker for today's food is a done and dusted deal. I like that, DDD. And so, there is no one more tablespoon of this or one more, you know, cheese stick or rollatini or piece of meat or anything like that. It's a done deal. Done, done, done. Now, this one's interesting. This is the confrontation approach. This approach to behavior change requires you confront yourself mentally. Sarah, sit down. We're going to have a smackdown. For example, if you're craving cookies, think about the unnecessary calories and fat you'll be consuming, and grains, for me, and how tired and sluggish you'll feel afterwards. Remind yourself that this isn't what you want to do with your life. Well, the confrontation approach, I mean, I've had all those talks with myself. I don't know how effective it is for me. I don't know if it's effective for you when you sit down and you have that, you know, or for me it'd be going into the bathroom and looking into the mirror and having a little talk with myself, or maybe I could watch one of my Smackdown videos about it. There are certain things that are not an option. Cookies would be one. Anything with grains in it, or table sugar, you know, added sugar, or processed that comes in a box, or a carton in the freezer. None of those things are an option for me. Grains trigger my brain. I'm going to say it again. Grains trigger my brain to want. It has nothing to do with hunger. It has nothing to do with what my body needs. It is just what happens. If I see something, like I'm watching a man that used to be 100% keto, and he orders this pizza in the restaurant because he had a good workout. And so he gives himself permission to have it because it's a special occasion. I don't know, rare and appropriate. I don't know. But it's like, and I'm watching it, and, you know, it's supposed I'm like watching him for the keto stuff, but like I'm glued because, you know, it's everything that you can imagine about a pizza, and it's more than a 60-second commercial for Domino's or something like that. And so I'm gone. And what is this thing where they have the pizza thing and the breadsticks and then the containers of dipping thing? That's another thing. I mean, it's just like, it's amazing how they will get the grains into you which will make you fat, which will make you want to eat more. And it's not even healthy. There's no essential nutrients in any of it. I mean, if you want cheese, have a hunk of cheese. You don't have to have it with all the carbs, right? So the confrontation approach for me would be 4 out of 4 if I had to choose one. But the last one is the shaping approach. And I like this. This is where that one that I'm talking about, the nighttime eating, comes in. And this is a duh for me. Try changing your behavior gradually, one step at a time. Now, I am not plagued with nighttime eating. It was something that it's kind of like the quitting drinking, quitting smoking. It's a gift in my arsenal. It's a gift that somehow I was able to train my body not to want the nighttime eating. So this I really like, and if you're a nighttime eater, pay attention. So instead of eliminating evening snacks altogether, start with a rule of no snack 1 night a week. Increase that to 2 nights a week. Eventually, you might be able to scale back to a snack 1 evening a week. As you succeed with step-by-step changes, you'll build confidence that will start fueling even more successes. Well, I like that. I like that. If you gave up, if you made a goal with yourself, say September 1st, to give up 1 night of your nighttime snacks, and you played it out, you maybe even kept a journal, right? And then with the macro count or the calorie count or what points count that you have in your tracker, you could take whatever item that was and tack it onto maybe something a little bit more at lunchtime. So when you get to dinner, you're not ready to eat half of your arm. Or add an ounce more of protein into your nightly protein, or a tablespoon more of a healthy fat dressing on a salad. Or, a half a tablespoon more of butter, Kerrygold butter, on your vegetables instead of having that nighttime eating. Learn to gradually make that shift for yourself and get used to that. And when you're used to the 1 night a week, add a second one, like a Monday and a Friday. Or Friday night's important to you because it's like the end of the week reward. Make it Monday and Thursday or Sunday and Thursday. Something like that. And then it just becomes a part of your fabric. It becomes a part of who you are. I love that. So that they're calling that the shaping approach. I'm calling that the elimination approach. Instead of 7 nights a week of having, a little dessert. I was reading on one of the keto Facebook pages, this woman new to the program every night has a Carb Smart bar or a sugar-free pudding. And she was wondering why she's not losing weight. And the feedback she was getting, she didn't want to hear. It wasn't pleasant. And she's asking for the feedback, and then she's calling them rude. And they were saying that artificial sweeteners will stall your weight loss, along with having those things every single night will stall your weight loss. And my feeling would be that if you're trying, part of the keto approach, and sometimes with low carb, high fat, but definitely with the keto, is to lose that sweet tooth altogether, is to work on the sugar addiction that might have plagued you and made you obese. And so getting over a sugar addiction means you're going to be working on getting over a sugar addiction. And you're going to be becoming fat adapted instead of glucose adapted, which is sugar adapted. And so to filter in the sugar still is going to get you into trouble, especially in the beginning. So she asked for the feedback, but she didn't like the answers that she got. But having a treat every single night is just, it's like starting smoking again and thinking you can do it in safety and having it only at certain times. It doesn't always work that way. And in a matter of weeks, you could be right back to that 1.5 packs a day that you gave up 5 years ago because you don't want to gain any more weight. And then you've gained the 15 pounds that you gained from quitting smoking, and now you're smoking again still. And so, it's such a bad cycle. It's a horrible cycle. So with the nighttime eating, I really, really like that. Eliminating one nighttime eating per week. And for me, the comma or semicolon is to add extra fat or protein or both into your lunch or your dinner that would have been part of that snack. And so you're having you're having 2 to 3 substantial meals a day and learning to work on cutting out the snacking. Because as we know, Dr. Fung with the obesity code says no snacking ever, period. And I like that. And that's my philosophy too. Well, it's time for me to go take a walk and seize the day. Seize your own day. Have a wonderful one. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.